Hello, and welcome back to the penultimate episode of Questions Show Season 2, a play podcast where each week a new adventurer steps up to fix a broken kingdom. Ladies, gentlemen, MBs, we're getting to the end of this current story, but that doesn't mean that we can't still pull out some surprises, including a brand new guest to the podcast. So please, special guest, introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Mitch, otherwise known as HeavyEyed on the internet. And I'm gonna. Do you want me to introduce my character and stuff?
We'll do that in a second. Don't worry about that. First, we got to know who the person is who's playing said characters. So, Mitch or HeavyEyed, yes. Tell us what is. Let's say potentially somebody at home doesn't know what HeavyEyed is. Explain what is HeavyEyed.
So I do, I make videos about games and kind of the stories about why we play them, and also dives into the industry, talking about some things that maybe don't get talked about from I don't want to say journalistic because I'm not a journalist, but
sure,
that sort of approach as well.
Not really what's covered in mainstream stuff, I suppose.
Yeah, environmental stuff and business practices that I don't see talked about, all that kind of thing.
Nice. And what else? Any other things kind of related to the channel you get up to?
I stream sometimes. It's all under HeavyEyed, one name. One word, not one name.
One name, one word. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And I guess, if you got experience with playing games and such like that, what is your particular experience? Because I've been asking this of all guests who have come on Question Show. What's your particular experience with tabletop role-playing games?
Mostly Dungeons and Dragons, specifically 5th edition, which I'm sure is the same for a lot of people. I was actually on a podcast many years ago.
Oh.
A play podcast called Friday Night Dice. I had to stop being on it because I moved to cities and played a homebrew game with a few other friends from the YouTube space for about 4 years. That just ended a couple weeks ago.
Oh wow, that's a very long running campaign. How do you feel after 4 years of playing these characters?
It was weird, watching, because it was my second character ever in a D&D setting, but I made it maybe 2 weeks after I went on the podcast and made my first character. So it was still, I guess, one of the first characters, very early on. And watching over the years how I changed him and started learning the game and, getting the hang of everything. It was cool to see and just becoming more comfortable in that setting.
Yeah. And kind of almost kind of going on a little arc of, growing more confident as kind of the adventure went on and, becoming a fully fledged adventurer by the end of it, I suppose.
Yeah, I can't remember if we started at level 1 or level 2, but I'm going to say from level 1 to level 16, I think we ended on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite, yeah, I mean, it's quite astonishing, isn't it? And I suppose it's one of those things that, obviously compared to, I suppose there's stuff like MMOs and, carrying over saves and stuff. But, just living with a character for that long and, going through an adventure like that, I suppose there's nothing really like it, in video game stuff.
And there's going to be no more story of Azurus the Blue Druid unless I do it somehow with the same people.
You force them into keeping the story going at gunpoint.
Yeah, I want to know what keeps happening, so we're gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I want to know what his day to day is like. Imagine, like, what is he like in a shopping mall? What is he like at a wedding? What's all these
Exactly.
different situations? Exactly. Oh, that's quite cool. And I suppose just kind of off the top of your head, just from like obviously experience with game stuff and tabletop stuff, what's one thing you would say about like tabletop that you can't get anywhere else that like really draws you to it?
It's the stories easily.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing like a collaborative on the fly story that has, the random element of dice. You never know what your DM's going to do. You never know what the other players are going to do. You
Hmm.
have all your own thoughts of like what's going to happen and how you want things to play out. And then someone will roll low or someone will just do something way out of left field and you're like, oh, like I got to
Yeah.
do something else now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is, yeah, it's collaborative storytelling, isn't it? And, obviously
Mm.
bouncing off each other and, either competitively or cooperatively. And yeah, it just, I don't know, it's nice. And it's sharing something as well, isn't it? It's like, kind of
Yeah.
makes it more than, if it was just something you were doing on your own, I suppose.
Hmm. Yeah, very much so. I have played a couple of other tabletop games, but I feel like at least in the long run of more than just like a couple sessions, D&D has been the one that I've enjoyed the most, mainly because it feels a lot like the fantasy stuff I've grown up playing as video games, but more in depth.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, good to know. Well, Mitch, as it is your first time on the podcast, and
Mm.
potentially people may be joining us because they like your stuff, they either your videos or your streaming, and they've gone, "What's Questing Show? What are you doing on this podcast, and what's it about?" And even though there's only another episode left in season 2, people have decided to start here, but it doesn't matter because I'll be kind enough to explain how this works, which is basically, before we started, I asked Mitch to come up with a character that he'll be playing with in this episode of Quest in Show. And over the course of the adventure, I'll describe settings, characters, and situations, and Mitch will be in charge of telling me how they'd like to proceed with their actions. And most of the time, these actions won't be challenged. However, there may be opportunities where they'll want to take the advantage, say get a drop on somebody or parlay for a better deal. Or times where they'll have to defend themselves, either through a little bluffing or combat, and during these occasions they'll be asked to roll 2 6-sided dice. But, because obviously these are fully fleshed out characters, they may have particular skills or expertise. And for each small advantage they may have going into a situation, such as their gear or special something, we add 1 on to the final result. But on the flip side, if they're going into a situation at a disadvantage, say they're hurt or just in the wrong place at the wrong time, we remove numbers from the final result. And simply, rolling a high number leads to great results. And Mitch, what do you think happens if you roll a low number in this game?
Better results? No, worse.
Yeah, even better results. You get pity results. Yeah, maybe. It depends what the situation is, I suppose, but not usually, unfortunately.
No, I
Speaking
can't imagine.
speaking of dice and rolling them, Mitch, do you have dice handy?
I have computer dice handy.
They
Uh,
count. Virtual dice are just as legitimate as regular dice, I will say, to the people at home. Absolutely. Mitch, would you like to roll 2 dice right now and see what kind of result you get? Just to kind of set the tone for what the adventure could be.
oh god. Okay, yeah. Okay, let me. I got an 8. Not bad. A 6 and a 2.
That is not bad yet. 8 is
It's
like
like
smack bang in the
the
middle of
average.
results. That is, yeah, that's a mixed success, which kind of very
Mm.
much describes quite a lot of Quest and Show, which is, sometimes people get what they want, but comes at an unforeseen cost or complication. But so hopefully you'll be able to react to those as they come up. And
Mm.
obviously, to the people at home, the system is linked in the description below. Now, Mitch, before we embark on this adventure, on this second to last adventure of season 2, I gotta ask you, Is there anything you would like to say before we get into the adventure proper?
Like just unrelated to the adventure, or
You can say whatever you want. It's your time to shine.
Oh god, that's a lot of pressure.
You're on the spot, Mitch. Come on.
Nah, I hate being on the spot. I'm just gonna be like, I'm good. I will bow out and like let's begin.
Excellent. And I'll just say personally that I'm very happy to have you on the podcast because I've been a big fan of your work for a long time, and getting to even know you personally through small jobs and through the streaming and stuff like that. I thought, you'd be such a good guest to have on the Question Show. So I was happy to have asked you and not get rebuked for being a nerd. So that's good.
I mean, do you know me? I am a huge nerd. Also, I'm stoked to be here, but I was like, I'll save that for the end. But you beat me to it.
Oh, you can say it at the end. Don't worry. I'll have forgotten by the time we get to there, and I'll be touched when I hear it. So don't worry about it. Oh, by the way, Mitch, perfect. I do have to warn you before we get into the adventure proper, and I got to warn everybody about this because even though this is the second to last episode of season 2, if anything, this might be the most important episode of Question Show.
Uh-oh.
Every action that you perform will have lasting consequences. So please consider that in your decision making.
Okay.
Don't fart it up. Or do fart it up, because that might make things more interesting. Basically, follow your character's heart, I suppose.
Yep. Okay. I like that.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. So with that, let's go to a land out of time and out of place, as we head back, once again, to the kingdom of Trottelera. Now, Mitch, let's talk about the character that you'll be playing as today. What's their name? Yes.
Rylan Dorr is the name.
Rylan Dorr. Tell us about Rylan Dorr. How do they look, and what would you say their role is?
So Rylan Dorr is, your almost typical tall, pale elf. But there is one distinguishing feature that he does have that sets him apart, and that is he has blonde curly hair instead of blonde straight hair.
Oh my god, he's a black sheep amongst the elves.
I know. And you would say he is trained to be an archer, but he does not enjoy being an archer. Instead, he wishes to be a tinkerer. Like an engineer.
Okay. So tell us about that then. Tell us about his kind of backstory and where he came from and what's led him to where he might be today.
Well, so he is from, being an elf, proper high society, good family. But due to his, the curly hair, which is a deal with the elves, he's kind of been outcasted. So he doesn't like a lot of the things his family has forced him to do, which is, being an archer. So he hides a lot in his room, tinkering and hanging out with his dog, Kale.
Oh.
And despite that, he will use his family's prestige to sneak into places because he still is an elf of well renown.
Of course.
And yeah, he just really likes journaling and tinkering and hanging out with his dog and kind of, exploring things outside of what he's been shown through the lens of a well-to-do proper family.
Sounds pretty good. What would you say his 3 special skills are that separates him maybe from his other elves?
Some would say he is good at athletics, tinkering, and having a prestige.
Okay. And I think those things should hopefully come in useful. Depending, obviously, what happens in this adventure. Maybe nothing may happen. Maybe we might have a nice time. We don't know. But let's say, potentially, he may need to use those. But he might also need to use something like an expertise or a special skill that separates him even further from the rest. which I think you have touched upon already. But what is this
Mm.
special something?
His expertise, as some would say, is his pet animal, his
Yes.
dog, Kale.
So he's got a pretty good affinity with Kale, and obviously Kale kind of expands his repertoire essentially because a dog, they have keen senses of hearing and keen senses of smell, and they're good at catching their frisbees with their mouth and stuff like that. Dog stuff. No, I get it. I get it. Stuff that the average person can't do. No, I absolutely. And finally, what are two things that he can't go on an adventure without? Like, what would you say? What's his loadout?
Despite his slight disdain for his family's not existence, but his family's background, he can't go anywhere without his fancy clothes and his journal.
Excellent. Well, Rylan, let me tell you, because today of all days, you are travelling as you usually do. You go from kingdom to kingdom, city to city, documenting whatever you can find there, finding yourself falling into sometimes misadventures, sometimes, interesting times, essentially. You've been there kind of as great events have happened, and you've been able to kind of keep an everyman's journal of proceedings of the event. And as always, you are with your best friend in the whole wide world, Kale, walking at your side, and you are heading into the kingdom of Trottelera. And I gotta ask, Kale, what do you know of Trottelera? How much do you know about what's going on there, or just general information, really? And you can be completely honest. It's fine.
Not a whole lot, to be completely honest.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can fill you in on this. Does he know roughly details of Trottelera?
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, sorry. Obviously, I can fill you in on this detail, but does he know? But he roughly has an idea of what Trottelera is and kind of any recent news, right?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought that was a player question, not a character question.
Right.
But Ryland would have an idea. Being with his family, he, keep a lot of tabs on just general what's happenings around.
Okay. How well? I mean, again, I guess I'll ask another question about the character. How much do they keep Rylan in information, considering the fact that he is something of a not a sore spot, but again, a black sheep of his noble family?
His family doesn't keep him in, but he, as much as he can, likes to find out his own way.
Okay, I'll tell you what then. Let's do first roll of the game, which shall be roll 2d6, and let's add +1 for prestige.
Nice. Okay, let's go. That's a double one.
What the snake eyes is it? Oh no. Oh, which means that something even worse has to happen with this. Well, first things first, as of recently, your family hasn't really. They seem to be up to something, but you're not exactly sure what it is, and it is partially related to Trottelera. Like, maybe they're travelling there for some kind of business or some kind of event, which may have even been a reason for why Rylan is currently heading there at the moment with Kale, to kind of figure out, right, what's the big deal, what's happening. Well, I'll tell you what the big deal and what's happening is, Rylan, is that as you head into the city, the streets are quiet, businesses seem to be closed for the day, almost like they're closed for some kind of enormous event. Yeah. So, what? Yeah, obviously, as you got. Actually, here's a funny detail. So, as you got to the front of the kingdom, where there would usually be a toll booth, the tolls are down at the moment, but nobody seems to be manning them. They're completely abandoned.
Well.
Well.
So we've got a abandoned toll booth and some locked doors.
Like a big barrier, essentially.
Oh, big barrier. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I will. Sorry, I'm just.
No, that's fine.
I will say I forgot to put this at the top, but I am sick, so my brain is a bit mushy.
No problem.
I will. There's no possible just like surface way just to walk straight in.
You could try and maybe take a glance to see if there's any other means to get in, or you could try and. I mean, it is a barrier, but it doesn't seem impossible to maybe pass through or get over with a little bit of. Well,
Okay, so it's not like all the way up.
yeah.
Can't. It's not an impossible task to just potentially give it a little climb.
Yeah. You wanna give it a climb? You wanna give it a go?
Yeah.
All right. 2d6 plus athletics.
Okay, that's better. That's a 6 and a 5.
Oh, that's a big
That's
12.
12.
Alrighty. Yeah,
like
so the way that this barrier is
almost.
constructed is that it has like big metal beams, and it's a bit too tight for you to squeeze through, but Kale can squeeze through it absolutely fine. But you can get a decent enough grip, and yeah, with your advanced athletics, you manage to pull yourself up and all the way over, and no one's the wiser because well, nobody's around to witness that apart from Kale, obviously, and he looks pretty happy with what you've done.
Yeah, give him a little pat on the head, scratch him on a job well done, fitting through. And despite it being empty, I will still look around and be like, okay, I hope no one saw that.
Sure, just roll a flat 2d6.
That's a 3 and a 3 and a 2. Sorry, making 5.
Oh, that's a 5. You don't immediately know if somebody saw that, but you get a horrible feeling that maybe they did.
All right.
Welcome to. So you are now inside. Sorry, you are now inside the city of Chudlera.
All right. What is like immediately ahead of me?
You are on cobbled streets, and essentially there are a couple of townhouses to the left and right of you. Everything's quite dense, like it's all within this big walled city, and just kind of over time, buildings have kind of popped on top of each other and the like. So as you kind of look forward, everything is almost quite bunched up. But being an elf and having maybe better than average hearing, and Kale in particular, he's waffing in a particular direction as you're picking out very slightly music in the air.
Hearing something and seeing that Kale is absolutely into something, we will definitely follow that tentatively, not rushing down, but not hiding either, just very cautiously make our way towards the commotion.
Absolutely. As you head down the cobbled streets, the music gets a little bit louder, and you even start to hear the kind of the hustle and the bustle of crowds that are in Trothlera. As you pull yourself through a few alleys and then finally into an opening, you are hit with what is currently happening. There are enormous crowds that have all bunched themselves in and around a large white gazebo. The crowds all seem to be enjoying themselves. There's little food vendors and drinks vendors and the like. People are playing music in sort of a burst of celebration, and yeah, that's kind of all you can kind of get right now.
Okay. We'll look down at Kale and just give him the look of like, what is going on?
He pulls an inquisitive dog face at you.
Perfect.
If he could shrug, he would.
If only dogs could shrug.
If only.
I will just make my way to the first friendly looking face and give them a polite, either if they're facing away, give them a polite tap on the shoulder and just, inquire.
Okay, you get up to the nearest store, which is a large, ruddy-faced human woman who is selling baked goods, kind of like cakes and biscuits and stuff like that. And there is a woman and a child who are currently waiting to be served there. I'm assuming you're maybe tapping the mother on the shoulder, yeah?
Yeah, I'll just give a little
Okay.
tap.
And and what do you ask?
Hey, what's going on here today? What's all this commotion going on?
What's going on? What's all the commotion? Oh, you must be from out of town, sir. Have you been living under a rock for the past few weeks?
Scratching like the back of my head, looking down a little bit shameful. Not under a rock exactly, but not, in the loop.
Oh, she tuts and rolls her eyes and then points at some of the biscuits and cakes in front of her and she goes, "It's a marriage! A royal marriage that we're having today, sir."
Oh, okay. As Rylan looks at the cookies, can he pass who's getting married?
Yeah. You know a little bit about Trottlera because obviously that was the one thing that you asked. So, the cookies are traditional gingerbread persons, and one of them has been made in the crude image of the current king of Trottlera, Pratt Hemlock. Next to him, from what you can sort of tell from this woman's baking, is he might be marrying an orc, perhaps. There's a lot of green icing on it. That's about all you can kind of piece together from looking at the biscuit in front of you.
After the quick glance down at the cookies, I look back at the lady. I'm like, oh, of course. Yeah, at the Hemlock Wedding. And
Yes,
kind of look at her.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, that was the end of it.
Yes, the Hemlock Wedding. Oh, we've been waiting for it for weeks and weeks. Oh, Pratt marrying the love of his life, Susie Toblerone. And, oh, let me tell you, every big name across the entire continent has turned up here. Every noble house, every king and queen. Oh, gosh, if you were some big name, you wouldn't want to miss the event.
Oh, every house, huh? Interesting.
Oh, yes.
Oh, thank you for that. Sorry, I missed it. And then I will flick the lady who's selling cookies like a little coin for one and take one.
Okay, which one do you want?
The green one.
You want the green one, okay. Alright, good choice. A lot more, The Pratt one's a bit weird. There's a lot of like kind of spiky bits on it for like his horns and stuff like that. But with her, she's just kind of a nice round shape, so easy to conceal and all that sort of stuff.
And then I'll
ahead.
I'll snap the cookie in half, give half to Kale, and then eat half myself, and then make my way back into the crowd.
Okay. Dogs can eat biscuits, can't they? I don't want to make you roll for your dog so he doesn't get sick. That'd be weird.
There's no chocolate in it.
No, there shouldn't be any chocolate in it. No,
okay,
no,
then
it's
fine.
It's just icing. Okay, that's fine. Oh, Kale enjoys it. Very nice. Licking his lips with his big dog tongue. Now, I will say, you get a little inkling in the back of your head that perhaps the thing that you couldn't get out of your family is they're probably here.
Yeah. It's just why I'm not blending into the crowd, but not trying to stand out either, despite being a tall elf with curly hair.
Absolutely, you're trying to do the Assassin's Creed thing of nicely blending in, but you are sticking out like 2 foot taller than everybody else.
Yeah.
I will say though, and as you're kind of like you're getting in with like the sort of crowds and you're witnessing, and you're even documenting a little bit in your journal some of the stuff that's happening. Kale was doing pretty well for a few minutes after having this cookie, but something seems to have got his attention.
Oh, okay. Give him, the dog talk. Oh, what's going on? What have you got? What have you got? Like,
He's woofing, and his nose is kind of pointing over at the white gazebo.
Okay. Should we check it out? All right. Noticing that he's like fixated on this, and he's being annoying as dogs can be, I will follow his attention.
Yeah. Okay, so
the white gazebo.
He is heading over to the white gazebo then, and as you're kind of pushing through the crowds, he's almost bringing you right to the front of the gazebo, like where the big event is happening. Unfortunately, there are two people who are on the front door of the gazebo, and as kind of Kale is picking up a little bit of speed and moving towards it, the two of them kind of like stand to attention, like they'll try and stop him from going in.
Huh. Okay. What are the two people standing there? Like,
yeah.
What are we looking at?
You're seeing two guys who are in complete full body armor. You can't quite tell if they're humans or elves or anything really.
Mm-hmm. But they're definitely just like not to be trifled with.
Yeah, one of them's holding a long pike.
Right. Oh, okay. How big is this gazebo? Like, is it?
Oh, it's huge. It's about it's like the size of what's a fantasy metric that I could use for sizes? Because I didn't want to say football pitch because that's a bit. J.R. Tolkien wouldn't say something was the size of a football pitch. It's a bit smaller than a football pitch, though.
Okay. I can't think of one either. All right, so it's sizable. It's not your little gazebo in the park.
Oh yeah, no. This is a very large tent.
Okay. And is it like? Sorry, it's closed off on the sides. There's no like windows or.
No, the only entrance that you've seen to this thing is where Kale is currently going. You do see that, like, kind of around certain sides, there's, like, more little holes which, like, staff and stuff are moving in and out of, but, like, just because of how wide this thing is, you don't know what everything is on, like, the rest of the circumference, essentially.
Yeah. Okay. I will walk around and maintain a distance to one of the staff entrances.
Okay.
Like a wide berth.
Do you want to try and keep Kale from running in, then?
Oh, yes.
2d6 plus pet animal, then.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Okay, so I rolled a 1 and a 6.
That's a 7. That's a 7 though. That's an 8 with the +1, so that's a mixed success. Oh, yeah. That's not bad. Okay. You do manage to catch Kale, like, I don't know, has he got a leash or anything, or do you just, like, stop him?
No, he's just trained.
Okay, like, yeah, you're able to, like, kind of clap your hands and go, like, Kale, like, heel. And he does. Like, he comes to a stop immediately. But it brings you right into attention of the two guys who are at the front door. And, like, one of them throws his hand up and he goes, hey, stop right there. Don't come any closer, whoever you are.
Oh, no, sorry. Not planning on it. My dog, maybe he just smelled some food. Yeah. He just gets a bit excited if he smells something nice.
Kale hasn't smelled anything nice because he's currently barking quite angrily at one of the people in the suit of armor.
Maybe his bark, this isn't angry. He's just excited. Don't worry about it. And kind of tugging along, trying to walk away as nonchalantly but as possible.
you want to try and diffuse the situation as much as possible.
Yeah.
Roll a flat 2d6.
Oh. We have 3 and a 6, so 9.
Oh, that's a 9. That's okay then. Kale does manage to relent eventually, and like you do pull him away, and you're like, "Come on, calm down, boy, chill out." And you kind of go back into the crowd, but then you sort of go off in another direction, kind of around where the staff entrances is. You do kind of notice out the corner of your eye that not the one with the pike, but the other one that Kale was barking at is drawing an eye on you. Like, they're a little bit suspicious of Kale.
So how far away would I... How far away would I be at this point?
From one of the staff entrances.
The guard, sorry.
Oh, from the guard. After a couple of minutes, you are out of sight of the guy, and you're kind of heading more towards where the sort of staff quarters are for the wedding.
Okay. Is there any like trees or corners of buildings I can kind of just like lean? So if I lean against it, my back will be to the staff entrance.
Sure. And what's the intent of this?
Just to get a look at the staff and see what they're wearing and what they look like. Just to scout.
Cool. Roll 2d6, and I'll give you a +1 for athletics. Oh, that's a big 10 already. You kind of push yourself into a corner then, and your big ears are listening out to all the stuff that you're kind of hearing, and like you're drawing an eye on some stuff. So here's what I'll tell you. Chocolaire is quite the cultural mixing pot, so they have all kinds of people who are working at this wedding today. There are humans, there are wargs, dogmen, there are tabaxi cat people, there are some very cheap-looking automatons who are working there, there are trolls, there are gnolls, there are orcs, half-elves, and somehow there are also elves who are working at this event, despite the fact that most elves, wouldn't need to, busy themselves with doing work like this. So technically you could blend in, no questions asked. The uniform that seems to unify all of them is a white apron.
Okay. I will tell Kale to sit and wait for now.
Okay.
Just give him a little sit command. And I'll see if I can find someone on a break.
Sure. There is
just hanging out.
There is a half elf who is having a pipe leaf, sitting on a barrel, looking like he is catching a few minutes.
Okay. I will walk up to this half elf on the barrel and proceed to ask if I can have a puff of his pipe. It's been a long day, a long stressful day.
He kind of looks at you confused and grins, and he goes, "Hard day for you. You barely look like you've been working."
I have had to travel, and now I have to work here. But I left my apron at home, and so I can't get in, and they're not letting me. So I might get in trouble. It's this whole, it's very stressful.
Okay. Roll 2d6 on this.
Uh-oh. 2 3s.
Oh, that's 2. Oh, that's a 6. Okay.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a +1 on this, because it doesn't seem like you're in a terrible situation with this. So I'll bump this up to a mixed success, which I think makes sense. This guy just kind of like pulls an eyebrow up at you and he goes, so what, are you asking if you can borrow mine?
Yeah.
He just kind of grins at you and he goes, "Alright, so you do my shift, but I pocket any cash that you make at the end of it. How's that sound?"
How about... Yeah. Okay.
Alright, I'm not gonna...
You can call that dude.
I won't be going anywhere for the rest of the day, then I know which way you went in, so I'll know which way you'll come out. Alright? He takes the apron off himself and throws it in your direction.
grab it and just give him a nod of appreciation, chuck it on.
Cool. He stretches and heads off because he doesn't have to work for the rest of the day now. Yeah, baby.
Alright, so I'm gonna chuck this apron on and keep an eye on Kale, like have a look and see if he's still sitting.
He's sitting for the moment and his tail's wagging. If he could turn around and like wink at you to say, yeah, all good here, he would, but I don't know. I don't know if dogs can do that.
Unfortunately, not yet.
Not yet, no. You haven't got a charismatic enough dog who's able to do that.
I will give him, another little stay command, a pat, and then put the apron on and walk in.
Nice. Much like Hitman, you now have access to most of the event now because you have the staff's apron on. Oh boy, if you thought outside was built up and exciting, the inside of this gazebo is even more exciting. But this is where all the kind of the dignitaries and fineries are. Like I said, quite a lot of dignitaries here, nobles, kings and queens and other sort. A lot of orcs as well, because obviously the bride is an orc. And quite a lot of forest folk are also here, because King Pratt is famously one of them. Not a lot of them, though. I mean, their race is not very numerous in number, but you can tell them because they're all the ones with horns on their heads, essentially.
All right. First thing first, as like I don't know, what would you call it, like a gut reaction, would want to look around and see if I can spot my family's colors.
Absolutely. Roll 2d6 and I'll give you a +1 because they're your family's colors. You would immediately recognize them, I would think.
Oh, that it was a 2 and 1.
Oh, so only a 4. So here's the thing. You don't see your family first. But a member of your family sees you first.
Oh, no.
Tell me, what are they like?
They are very well respected by the other well-to-do families, as you would be. Yeah. They do not like the fact that Rylan can ever be seen in public. Oh, no. And I guess Rylan wouldn't know how people perceive them outside of his own perception of them, if that makes sense.
Obviously.
Like, the not well-to-do, he doesn't know what they think of him, of the family.
Okay, I think I can live with that. That makes sense. Will this be your brother or your sister who has seen you first? I'll ask you this.
It would be a sister. The well-loved sister.
The well-loved sister. You hear a kind of a high-pitched sort of like kind of getting your attention noise then, as your sister has caught you before the rest of your family has.
Give it a shameful turnaround, and I'm a bit upset that I didn't see them before they saw me.
She looks even more shameful than you do. Like, her face has dropped like a haunted tree. Like, she's dressed in all kinds of finery, and her beautiful long flowing hair has been let loose all around her shoulders and down her back. Even wearing a tiny bit of like elven jewelry and stuff like that. Oh, she just looks like she looks like her brother is turned up as the hired help. And you know what? I'm not going to offend you by doing the world's worst New Zealand accent. I'll just give her a fancy elf voice, I think. That makes more sense. This occasion. She goes, Rylan, what the hell do you think you're doing here?
Everyone left. So I came here and I couldn't get in without this. And I make arm movements at the apron.
God, I'm so embarrassed. An elf of the Dorr family, working the King Pratt's wedding. I'm so embarrassed.
They won't know.
You're right, they're not going to know, Rylan, because you're going to take that apron off, you're going to leave here before Mother and Father see what you're doing.
What's the big deal? It's fine.
What's the big deal?
I will just stay on the other side.
She's kind of like pushing her face around, like she's like constantly looking over her shoulder to make sure like no other members of your family are looking over, and she goes, You need to hide. You need to do whatever you can to hide those ears of yours and whatever else, and make sure that you stay far away from us for the rest of the day. Do you understand?
And I give her like a very sarcastic, like, okay hand.
You do like a big okay hand, like Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills. You just do like the most sarcastic thumbs ups at her. Yeah, that's good. Okay. And she's just like huffing and puffing then, is like she kind of goes back in another direction. You do quickly manage to see your parents, but their attention is taken by your sister, as it's almost kind of like she's keeping their attention away from you for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
That is until you hear barking.
Oh
no.
Okay. Where do I hear the barking? Is it very close or is it kind of distant?
It is the entrance that you came in, but it's outside.
Okay. I will kind of lower my head and put the hand, like, hand up over the face in the direction that my parents were standing, and just like dip to the door.
Roll 2d6.
4 and a 3, so 7.
Oh, that's not too bad then. You kind of put your hand up then, and you you see like a couple of different waiters about, and one of them's got an empty silver platter, and you say, "Oh, I'll take that back to the kitchen." You pick that up and you put that like against your face to stop them from seeing you. As you head back out of the entrance, poor Kale has managed to get himself engaged in a tiny encounter. The person that he is scrapping with, as you probably expect, is one of the guards who was by the front door. Here's something that you weren't expecting, though. The helmet and a little bit of this guy's armor has been knocked off. It's not a human and it's not an elf. It's not an orc or any of those. It's a drider. It's a spider person.
Oh.
Yeah. Let me ask, does Rylan know the spider people exist?
I would guess not, because he's quite sheltered.
Yeah.
Despite his best efforts, he's still, very much sheltered.
This is a shock to you. You've never seen anyone like this in your entire life.
Yeah. It's very stunned. In the politest way possible, I'm gonna like kneel down and like grab Kale around the chest and like give him a pat and just like look at the Spider-Man and be like, sorry about him, sorry, and just like try and quell Kale while also like trying to be cordial with the guard.
You want to try and diffuse the situation, do you?
Yeah.
Roll 2d6 plus pet animal.
Okay. That's a 6 and a 5, so 12.
Oh, okay. That is actually pretty good. You do manage to pull Kale off this guy, and what I will say is that you managed to pull Kale out of the situation before this guy tried to go for a nice big sweep to Kale's neck.
Yep.
This guy is huffing and puffing as he's looking at you, and like looking at the armor pieces around him and like touching his face, he realizes, oh shit, you two know what I look like. He doesn't look happy about that. But I will say, because he got a 12, he's not immediately on the offensive. You may be able to, I don't know, finagle this in some way. But depends what way you want to finagle it, essentially.
Yeah, I'll Okay, sorry, I need to collect my player self for a sec.
Absolutely.
I'll look at him and be like, hey, look, man, I get it. And I give Kale the big open palm, like stop, like stay kind of command in order to like just keep him quelled. And I'll stand up and I'll like play with my hands like, look, man, I get it. I'm an elf with curly hair. I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but it kind of is a big deal if you're an elf with curly hair. And I will like look down at my apron as well. But I had to get in here by pretending to be the help. I just wanted to come here to see what my family was doing. So I get it. And I don't mean you any disrespect either.
This guy is like all of his eyes are like twitching in completely different directions because whatever he's up to, you've kind of rumbled it, essentially. You do hear off in the distance, though. What's happening? Did you find that dog? What's going on?
I look at him and I'm like shaking my head, look him in one of his most front eyes.
Okay. And okay, so you want to intimidate this guy then?
Oh, not intimidate. Sorry, like
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, but you're trying to say like, don't say anything.
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right.
In more of a pleading way.
All right. Roll 2d6 flat.
Well, that's a 3 and a 4, so it's a 7.
This guy is looking like behind you and he's seeing that there's like people moving in and about and there's even more members of staff who may be coming out in a second. And he's just kind of like stressing out. Rather than say anything to his friend, he just books it. Like he turns 180 degrees and he just like starts running away, like his armor jangling behind him and stuff like that, and he's just piecing out from the situation.
Oh god.
So you have to fuse this guy, but because he didn't give an answer to the other guy, well, I don't know. That could go in another direction as well.
Mm-hmm. Did he leave his helmet behind?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna pick that up.
You have a look inside. It is a helmet that belongs to a guard called Peter Billingsley. The shape of it is for a human man.
Huh. Interesting. Before I continue, I need to pull out my journal and just like find a blank page and write "Spider people exist!" exclamation point underline. And then I will Peter Billington. You said
Peter Billingsley.
Billingsley. Okay.
Yeah.
I will. What should I do with this helmet? I will hold on to it for now. And is the other guard? Can I see if the other guard's like making his way or
He you can see him off in the distance.
Okay. Oh god. I will keep Kale and we will make our way like back to the spot where we were originally scouting the situation.
Okay, what, inside or outside the gazebo?
I was outside.
Okay.
The gazebo.
So yeah, you move a little bit further away than from where you currently are, so you can kind of watch the situation. Do you want to try and like watch where like the guard goes and whatever else happens?
Yeah, keep an eye on what the guard does, essentially.
You manage to kind of evade where the guard is like quite quickly, so you kind of see from crowds again, like him go over to where the entrance is of this thing, have a look around for the barrel. He then kneels down and tries to look for paw prints that Kale has left behind, but I'll tell you what, roll 2d6 plus pet animal to see if perhaps Kale may rumble you.
Uh-oh. That is 2 twos.
Oh, did he get a 4?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Or 5, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, it would be a 5, but yeah, no. Unfortunately, he does look at the paw prints and he sees that kind of leading to the crowd where you are. But obviously you can react before he does.
I will react by kind of putting the helmet down and like kicking it away.
He does
And
see
just-
that you do kick the helmet away, though,
Shit.
and he
Okay,
stands up.
that's
But he stands up straight as he realizes that what you know, essentially.
Yeah. I just
He
stare at him.
Okay, you're just staring at him, yeah.
Yeah.
His hands go over and he prepares his pike.
I put my hand up. Is it like a stop? I didn't do
Okay.
anything.
What do you mean you didn't do anything? You're gonna rumble us.
No. It was all an accident. I even
No.
tried to help, but he ran away before I could.
Ran away? What did he run away to?
I don't know. He went that way and point in the direction that he ran.
He's just pointing in a different direction. Oh, this guy is just kind of like, he's looking in all different directions and he's kind of like debating, oh god, should I go after him? I think he's thinking that because there were 2 witnesses to this, he may need to do a little bit of silencing. He's going to prepare that pike. What do you want to do?
I will take a step back, both hands up, walking up my side with Kale.
Yeah.
And I will say, I am just here to find out what my family was doing. I don't care what you're up to at all.
Roll 2d6 plus athletics.
Okay. That's a 4 and a 6.
Oh, that's a 10 then. Okay. You are calmly explaining this to him, and you're like kind of stepping out like around him as he does it. But he does go for a big old like pike poke. Fortunately, it doesn't hit you. It doesn't hit anybody in the crowd either. But they've just seen what this guy's done, and they all just kind of like they're all just shocked by this.
So there's like a crowd looking at us now.
Yes.
And this is the crowd from like the street parade, not the...
Yeah, this is the crowd outside the gazebo.
Okay, yeah, cool. And I will, now that he's attacked me, I will look at the crowd and point at the guard and be like, look, the guard is attacking the help. Help me. This guard has gone rogue.
Round 66 and I'll give you a +1 for this, because I quite like this idea.
Oh, I like that roll. It's a 6 and a 5.
Ah, baby, yes, please, thank you. Yeah. Obviously, being a pro-Labour town, seeing that one of the king's guards is attacking and humble help, that causes all the people to stand up and mobilise. Somebody who was working behind a stall throws a giant tomato at the guy's helmet, causing it to splatter and blind him. Somebody hits him with a purse. Somebody else hits him with a baguette. Just a little bit of mob justice runs wild on this guy. His helmet flies off as well. Underneath that armor is also another spider person.
I look at him and I was like, you chose this. I was prepared to be quiet.
I will say, seeing that it's a spider person, this guy tries to like scurry away. The crowds are all freaking out because, much like you, they've never really seen anybody who looks like this.
I'll look at the crowd and also pretend to be shocked. Like, oh.
You just pog at them. Like, wow, what's that? Crazy.
Whoa.
I will say though, Kale wants to try and chase after it.
I will. Is he running or is he like preparing to run after?
He looks like he's preparing to bolt off after it.
I will, before he can, kneel down and like hold him. Be like, stay.
You're hugging him tight.
Give him more scratches.
2d6 plus pet animal. Actually, I'm going to give you a +1 as well because like you've done it before. We know it works.
That's a 2 and a 4.
Well, that's a 2 and a 4. That's a 6. But you got an 8 on that because we
Okay.
give you an extra 2. Yeah, you do manage to get kind of hold on to Kale, and he is like kind of woofing at this creature as it's kind of running away, essentially. But the people are all just kind of looking at you because it's like, what is that? What are they doing in Gar's uniform? We don't have spider people in Gar's uniform here.
I don't know. This is all new. He just attacked me. You all saw it. I don't know anything else about this situation.
Do you think there could be more of them? Do you think they're trying to stop the wedding?
I doubt it.
I don't know. You're the help. Go help.
Yeah, I will go inside and inform them of this situation right away.
Okay.
That's what I say to the crowd.
Okay, but what do you actually want to do?
I'm just walking inside.
You just want to head on. You just want to head on inside with Kale. Your sister sees you again, dressed up like the help, but even more embarrassed. You're with Kale. She's doing like big like charades at you, like she's shaking her head back and forth, like no, get the dog out, no dog.
I will like, looking straight ahead, or not straight ahead, like 90 degrees from her, and like put my hand up to my face, like pretending to hide it, and then like move it and be like, like teasing her that I'm visible. Because at this point I don't care.
Okay, that works.
I just saw 2 spider people.
Yeah. Oh, it's very odd. So what do you want to do? You want to try and like look for like some kind of authority or what?
Okay. So I didn't get a look before my sister rudely interrupted me, and then Kale got into his little kerfuffle.
Mm-hmm.
So I will find, a good vantage point of the gazebo, and just sort of have a look, look around, see what's around.
Works for me. Roll 2d6 and +1 for athletics.
That is a 4 and a 1.
That's a 5 and a 6. I can work with that. That's not too bad. The gazebo, the way that it is built is that as you kind of look in the air, the thing has got rafters going back and forth to kind of like support it. And you do see that there are some ropes and some ladders to get up onto this kind of area above. So you think, well, where's the best place to get a vantage point? Why not up in the air? You kind of have a look around to find somewhere where you can potentially like pull yourself up, which you do so. As you get up there, though, there are some rather surprising things up there. Well, for one thing, the way that this gazebo is set up is that there's no, there are walls, but they don't go all the way up. So it's almost kind of like you're playing The Sims, and you can sort of see through the roof at all the different rooms. So you can see that there's a, where the ceremony is going to happen. You can see, certain back rooms where nobles are talking and the like. You can even see where the king and queen are being dressed up for the special event. But you can also see in the guards room. And what you see is that they are human, half-elf, and orc guards in there that have all been bound in spider silk.
Huh. Okay. Is there... So is that the next room over, but I can see through it because it's like the weird slit in the top?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will creep along the rafters. And is the slit wide enough to jump through and down into that room?
Yeah, but I'm going to have to make you roll for it because this will be the result of getting a big 6.
Of course.
But you can add athletics to it.
Oh, that is 2 5s.
Oh, baby, yes, please. So what's the move is that you want to hop... what room are you hopping into where the guards are, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
And where the okay, and you go through the slit and you hit the floor, light as a feather, no problem. You kind of look at them. Some of them look like they've been knocked out. They have got quite large spider bites on their neck, so they've probably been given some kind of sedative. A few of them aren't though, and they're awake. And as they kind of see you, they're like rocking back and forth and trying to speak through the binds that's been put over their mouths.
Okay. I will just rip the binds off the first guard I'm like able to, like the closest one to me when I drop down, who's awake.
Yeah. Roll flat 2d6 on this.
Ooh, it's a 2 and a 4.
Well, that's a 2 and a 4. That's okay. Okay, I can think of something fun with this. That stuff is pretty sticky, is the issue. And you're pulling pretty hard on it as a result. And occasionally you do pull the thing off, but as you do, you look in the wad and you see that you've pulled off this guy's mustache with it. He starts screaming in pain from what you've done.
I do the whole like the Michael Scott grimacing in embarrassment.
You're just like biting your bottom lip, like.
Yeah.
Everyone else as well who saw that happen, they're all cringing as well from the fact that you've waxed this guy's face.
Sorry, it's this was a lot stronger than I thought it was gonna be.
He's just rolling back and forth and just letting his lungs just go, essentially. And what I will say is, because you did roll a 6 on that, that did grab that grabbed attention. But as an immediate, you just hear kind of like, you just hear stuff happening outside. You hear people shouting like, "What's going on? What's all the screaming about?"
Don't worry about it. I dropped my helmet on my foot, and it hurt.
I wrote 2d6.
You say roll 2d6?
Yeah, it's just a flat 2d6.
Oh no, it's a 1 and a 4.
Oh, it's a 1 and a 4, is it? You got a 5 on that. So the guy does finally stop screaming. He's like, "You gotta cut our binds. You gotta let us go. The spider people, they're taking over the wedding. They want to try and take out Pratt." As he shouts this, the doors swing open, and you are greeted by a rather large orc in some fancy clothing.
I like put my hands up. I am not the spider people. I just happened across the situation, and I'm helping the guards.
He's looking around and he's seeing that the room is full of guards who have been stripped to their underpants with spider webbing around them. Everyone apart from you, who looks like a member of the health. Roll 2d6 plus 1.
2 2s.
Oh
so
my
5.
God. This orc just looks completely bemused by what is like going on in here, and like this guy's like shouting at him, and you're like trying to calmly explain the situation to him, and he's like tapping his glasses up, and he's like, no, not today, no, my niece is getting back, no. And then he's like closing the door. He puts his big old orc hand over your mouth and points at you, and he goes, "No, this day can't go off without a hitch. Do you understand?"
Mm-hmm. I like muffle the agreement and nod my head.
"What do you mean the spider people here? What the hell are they doing? What are they going to get involved in today? Today of all days?" As he's like looking around and just kind of, he takes his hand off your mouth for a second, and he's like, "Oh, this is not good. This is not good at all. Who are you? What's your name?"
My name is Rylan Dorr, of the Doors. And
"You're Rylan Dorr? Are you son of, I don't know, what's your dad called?"
my dad.
Your dad. Dad Dorr.
Aelin Dorr.
What was that?
Aelin, E-A-L-I-N. YN.
You're the son of Rylan Dorr? Oh, he didn't mention that he had a curly-haired son in his midst.
Yeah, that's on purpose. He doesn't really tell people. I just followed them here. Like, they didn't invite me per se. I just I'm here completely unrelated to the spider people. I'm just here to spy on my family. So you could say I am a spy door person.
There we go, everybody. That's been Question Show for another week. Thanks for coming with me. This guy is like patting around his face and he's just stressing out. He's like, no. That can't. God. And all the guards will be taken out. And God, we don't even know how many of them there could be here. And he's kind of looking at you, Rylan, and he goes, right, here's what we're going to do then. First things. And he pauses, and then he collapses forward. Standing behind him with his helmet off is another one of them spider guards who has just bitten him on the back, knocking him out.
Hello.
Now he's looking at you.
Hi.
His big fangs, he's hissing at you. He wants to do the same to you.
I will call Kale and be like, Kale, help, sick him.
Sick him, Kale. Roll 2d6 plus pet animal.
Oh my god, come on, Kale. I need you.
Kale, time to pull your weight.
Oh, thank god. That is a 5 and a 4.
Oh boy, that's pretty good. Well, that's a 10. Big doggy 10. The spider person is like, he's pulling the armor off him, and it's like revealing that he has 2 sets of arms where one should be, as he's like moving towards you. But rip, bursting through the gazebo like a giant bullet, and then knocking into the spider person, knocking them onto their back. Good old Kale stands up and woofs triumphantly.
Oh, okay. So this is... did he incapacitate the spider person, or is he just here triumphantly?
He's here triumphantly, but the spider person's on its back right now, but he's not out of the fight yet.
I quickly, like, kneel... I will flip the spider person over and kneel on their back and, like, hold their arms.
Okay.
If I can.
I'll let you give it a go. Roll 2d6.
2 and a 6? That's
an 8. Yeah, you do manage to flip this guy over and you're kneeling on his big fuzzy back. And you're like trying to... The problem is that it has got 4 arms, so like as you're trying to like push one down, another one comes up and then you push that, and it's kind of like whack-a-mole as you're just trying to like stress this guy into the floor. The guy who you ripped the mustache off earlier, he's trying to like get out onto his feet because he wants to try and help you out. But what do you want to do? Like, you're going to have to try and keep holding this guy down, essentially.
I will keep playing whack-a-mole with these spider arms. And I will order Kale. I'll like sort of motion him at the guard and say, listen to him, and tell the guard to give Kale instructions. Okay.
Roll 2d6 plus... I'll give you +1 for a pet animal and +1 for athletics, so +2.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Okay. That is a 5 and a 3. So what's that? 8, 10.
That's a 10. Okay, Kale nods at you then, and he goes over to the guard and he's woofing, and the guard's just saying, bite through these binds around my leg and bite around my hands, and we'll try and get all these people free. He woofs in agreement and he starts to do that. Meanwhile, you are whack-a-moling the spider's arms. Kale and the guard are quickly going through and ripping off silk wherever they can, and they're trying to like pull themselves back together again. But as you're kind of watching over and thinking, man, Kale, you're doing a pretty good job, the spider person takes the advantage, manages to flip you onto your back. You don't take any harm from this, though, but you're both now kind of like level pegging again.
Hi. Am I like... How are they doing? The guard and the dog?
Guard and the dog seem to be doing okay as they are ripping through. So there are about 15 guards in here. About 7 of them are now freed up, including the guy who you ripped the mustache off earlier.
Okay. Little help, Kale, help. And I will like put my if I'm on my back, I'll put my feet up as like a defense mechanism.
Okay. 2d6 plus pet animal.
Oh no. That's a 4 and a 1.
Oh, that is a 5. Oh, that's a 6. Oh no. So you put your legs up to kind of like stop the spider person like getting in range, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so this guy, like, that guy sprung onto his legs and started running in your direction then. You did put your legs up to try and, like, stop it, but Kale, he bounded over, bounced off your chest and into the spider person. Unfortunately, Kale bounced right into its awaiting fangs.
Oh no.
Oh no, Kale. You hear like a dog whine as Kale and the spider person hit the floor.
I will rush up to my feet and pick Kale up and see how he's doing.
Kale is shivering. He's got 2 spider bites in his neck.
Oh, I am just like booking it to the other side of this room, and I'm gonna kneel down and put him on the ground and assess his situation more.
Okay, roll 2d6 plus athletics.
3 and a 4.
3 and a 4, that's a 7. Okay. I will tell you this much then. The guards that were free, the spider person was going to try and give chase to you, but all of them, they're rushing into it and they're like, well, they just start knocking crap out of it, essentially. Which does give you time to bring Kale over into a quiet corner to have a look at him. The poison has literally just been set, and it's very slowly working its way into his blood system. However, you've never really dealt with poisoning before. You're not really sure how you would... I mean, outside of like sucking the poison out, you're not really sure what you would do.
Yeah, that was going to be my first
Okay.
question, is if I could try and suck it out.
Okay, sure. Roll a flat 2d6 on that.
Oh no, that is a double 2 again.
Oh no! You managed to suck some of it out of Kale's neck, which does have a positive effect on Kale. Unfortunately, this solution tastes so disgusting you accidentally swallow a little bit of it. I'm going to give you 1 harm for that because you were feeling pretty bad from consuming some of that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, not nice.
Yeah.
But then Kale kind of bounces to his feet and woofs and licks you.
I will stagger to my feet and give him a pat. I'm just happy that he's okay.
Of course.
So what's happening with the guards and the spider now?
The guards are all freed up. The spider who attacked you has been kind of... I don't really want to describe how he looks, but you'd need a very large glass and a piece of paper for him, unfortunately. The guards are all kind of on their feet, huffing and puffing, and just kind of looking at you, and it's like, oh God, you got here when you did. Oh, all those guys, they turned up, started taking us out one by one. God, no friggin' idea what they're even doing here today.
I mean, who's Philip?
Oh, what? Philip puts his hand up. He's the guy in the back.
Yeah, found your helmet outside.
Teachers throw it. So, hey, this is yours.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. This is a weird day, man. They seemed nice until they attacked me.
Nice? What kind of guys do you call nice when they sneak up on you and knock you out with poison and then steal your identity?
Well, that's not nice. But the
first one ain't.
the first one that I saw was afraid.
Of course he's afraid. He didn't want to get found out.
I guess. I mean, I'm here and I got found out and I shouldn't be, but that's a whole other problem.
This guy moves up on you. He's like, what do you mean you're not meant to be here? You're not in cahoots with him, are you? You're not trying to assassinate Pratt on the day of his wedding, are you?
If I was in cahoots with them, do you think they would have bit my dog and tried to fight me?
Fair point.
I'm
But
here to
you
spy
still-
on my family.
Your family? Who's your family?
The Doors.
I'm not even really sure why I asked. I don't know who half the people here are, but considering how quick you were to answer that, that's fair enough. He kind of looks at his men then, and they're like putting themselves together, and it's like, right, well, we don't know how much time we have to get out there and sort this thing out, so looking at you, you're going to have to help us out, alright? We don't know how many of these guys could be out there, and, well, we need to mobilize, and we got to let Pratt know as quick as possible, alright?
Okay. So you need my help.
Yeah, if you're willing to help us.
Yes, but I have one condition. Can I have a helmet?
He has a look around and he goes, yeah, we probably got some spare helmets around here. You want a weapon or something as well?
Yeah. Do you use bows or your pikes and swords and stuff?
Yeah, we got a couple of bows.
Yeah.
Elf like you probably know your way around one, don't you?
Ha. Yeah. Ha.
Casual chummy racism, of course. Yeah. This guy kind of like slaps his hands together and he's like, well, we don't know how much time we got, but we better. And as he says that, you hear the wonderful sound of pipe organ music piping in as the ceremony is literally happening right now.
Oh. Yeah. I'm gonna chuck my helmet on and grab a bow
Thump. Thump.
and start walking.
You head out and you see that like crowds are starting to kind of move around into the two different sections that they're placed in. On one side are all the horny forest folk on Pratt's side of the family and some nobility related to him, and on the other side are the orc side of the family, or the different. Actually, they are. Some of the orcs are looking around because the big guy who came in earlier to talk to you and then got knocked out by spider poison. The guy looks at him and he goes, "Oh, cripes. He's meant to be giving the bride away. I don't know what they're going to do now. Gosh, if they find him in here with you, they're going to be asking all sorts of questions."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I sucked the poison out of my dog and he was fine, so maybe you could do the same to this guy.
Oh, you're going to try and convince this guy to set the poison out?
Yeah.
Okay, roll 2d6. And I'll give you a +1 prestige as well, actually.
It's a 9.
That's a 9. Oh, I guess it's a 10, though, isn't it? With a +1.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. He does manage to set the poison out, and unlike you, he's smart enough to like then immediately spit it out. The orc is starting to come around, but he is still pretty like out of it. But he's not like, yeah, he has been quote unquote saved in this situation, which is good.
Okay.
But yeah, you look outside, and yeah, you see there's a lovely looking little satyr, like high priest essentially, who's coming out to do the ceremony, and unfortunately on stage are a bunch of guards. Bad guards. Spider guards.
Okay. So we're like just arriving at the ceremony and I see all the guards.
Mm-hmm.
I will take my helmet off and throw it on the ground in an attempt to make a really loud noise and yell, "Stop this wedding right now."
Okay. Roll 2d6 plus helmet. +1 for helmet.
Oh, sorry, I need to rectify something.
Sure.
I'm getting -1 now, right? because of the harm?
Oh no. So when you hit 2 harm, you say minus.
That's
one
when it
going.
kicks in.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a 1 and a 6.
That's a 7. Okay. You throw the helmet on the floor then, which causes people to like stand up in shock. And then you say, "Stop this wedding." Your father and mother and brothers and sister look over in your direction, and oh boy, they look like you've just pooed in their kitchen. I don't know. That's yeah. You just do a tiny wave over it. Oh yeah, no, they just look completely shocked and bothered. The guards who are on the who are up there, they all kind of stand to attention and they go, "Interloper, stop him!" As like the crowds are kind of looking in your direction. See what you say next.
Are the guards that I rescued here, or are they like?
They have all decided to go for the stealth approach. They're all kind of moving around. They're still all in their underpants, is the thing. So they're all kind of moving around the outside of the gazebo to try and, like, pick off spider people and even try to sneak onto the... If anything, you've bought them a distraction by doing this. So some of them are slowly moving up to the stage.
Okay, cool. That's what I was hoping, is that I was being the distraction. As everyone is like looking at me and I see my family, and I will I'm gonna look at the family and I'll point to them and be like, "The Doors do not approve of this wedding."
Okay. Roll 2d6 plus prestige.
My God, there's a 3 and a 1.
Oh no, that's a 5. Your dad just stands up and he goes, "Rylan, what the hell are you talking about?"
You did not tell all of the family about this wedding and this trip, which means you do not fully approve of it as a family and as a house.
Orcs are now looking in your dad's direction. It's like, "What you doing, Dorr? I thought we were coming here. We were going to cut some deals, moving on some businesses, and then what? Black sheep of the family comes in, tries to stop it from happening, huh?" No, nothing of the sort, nothing of the sort. He's just a unknown interloper. I don't even think he is my son. He's a crazy man, aren't you? Wow. Your sister's just like, she's just like put her hand up against her face, like, "I'm not looking. I don't know what the fuck's going on."
Can I get a while this like yelling is going on? Can I get an insight on how the guards are doing, or are they out of my sight?
Roll 2d6 and I'll give you a +1.
Okay. That's a 5 and a 1. So
that's a 6.
7.
Okay. Oh, a 7 actually. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I will tell you what then, because you did roll bad with your dad, so that's still going to continue. But you do have a look, and yeah, they are still slowly moving over. One of them even gives you like a thumbs up, like, "Hey, great distraction. This is going wonderfully." Some of the orcs are sizing up, despite the fact that they all are dressed in fancy finery. They look like they want to knock 7 shades out of your dad because he thinks that this is some means to duck out of business. While this is happening, you look over at the corner of your eye and you see that somebody has ran onto the stage. This person is a rat person.
Oh.
Quick question. Does Rylan know that rat people exist?
How common are they?
Not at all.
Then definitely not.
The rat person runs onto the stage and he goes, "Actually, if we're in the middle of stopping the wedding, me and my clan would like to make a couple of points against Trottler as well, now that we have everyone's attention." Oh, people are like screaming as they look over and they see something that they've essentially never seen before. One of the guards does finger guns at you and goes, "Hey, great idea, that rat guy." This distraction's going incredibly well.
Yeah, the rat guy.
But your dad is at threat of being beaten up at a wedding. What would you like to do?
So I'm still stuck between my dad and the orcs.
Yeah, I imagine like you're in the middle of the aisle. Like to the right of you are a bunch of just like people with horns and nobles, and then on the left is your dad, who's your family, who is mixed up with a group of orcs.
If I can, amidst all this chaos,
yes,
I'm gonna try and just duck out.
Oh, you want to get out of the situation, do you?
Well, I would like to essentially cause chaos and then just like, whoop, I'm out.
Oh, you want to make stuff even worse, do you? Okay. I mean, you have a bow and arrow. You have Kale, obviously. I don't know. How would you like to? Who's your oyster? Welcome to Quest and Show. Tell me what you want to do, and we'll try and make it happen.
Ooh, okay, there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
Essentially, okay. I want to look at my sister, the one who spotted me.
Yes.
Inside. Give her that big okay hand again, the big sarcastic one. Wink.
A big wink, yeah.
Yeah. And then I would like to try and cause more chaos and be like, so the guards are still on stage, fully armored?
Spider guards are still on stage, fully armored, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, some of them are like this rat guy is ran onto the stage, and some of them are like now trying to approach him, and like they're trying to poke him off, essentially.
Okay. At everyone who has seen the rat, I will then yell, if you think the rat guy is weird, the guards are spider people.
Oh, cool. Roll 2d6 and I'll give you +2 on this.
Oh yeah, that's a 3 and a 5.
Oh yeah, baby, that's a 10. People are kind of looking in shock and they're just like, wait, what the hell is he talking about? The rat person decides to take a chance with the one that hasn't got a pike and pulls its helmet off, revealing that, yes, it is a spider person. Oh, the audience, they're just losing their friggin' minds, essentially. Like, yeah, they're just, like, some of them are, like, running through the gazebo, trying to hit the road, essentially, as the guards who are on stage, some of them are now chasing after the rat person who's running around on all fours, and some of them are now running towards you. Also, you did technically do nothing about your dad going into a fight situation.
Oh yeah.
Your dad has now been punched very hard by an orc.
We call that justice.
Take that, Dad. Chaos is now unfolding at the wedding. What would you like to do?
So now that
and I will say this as well. So in all of that messy distraction, the guards who were sneaking up have now snuck up, and some of them are dealing with the spider people. But I will say 2 spider guards are heading in your direction.
And Kale by my side?
Kale is at your side.
Okay. I will face the commotion of my dad getting his ass beat by an orc. And I will point and just say run in that direction to Kale. Okay. I will like Assassin's Creed my way through that crowd.
Okay, roll 2d6 +1 for athletics +1 for pet animal.
That is double 3.
That is a 6. That's an 8 though, +2. So that's
okay.
Not too bad. And what was the intent of this?
To hide from the guards. Not hide, but like evade.
You have evaded the guards by going into the chaos of this mosh pit of these orcs fighting. Basically, a couple of awkward punches hit a few other people, which has started more fights, essentially. So you're now in a mosh pit, essentially. And I will say, because of the results of an 8, a big old green fist is swinging in your direction. They're not actually aiming for you. This is just what happens, unfortunately. So roll 2d6 plus athletics to avoid getting hit.
I don't think I'm going to avoid getting hit. That's a 1 and a 2.
Oh, no. It hits you pretty hard on the side of the head, and you are... Well, actually, I'll tell you how you're doing from that. Roll 2d6.
That's a 4 and a 3.
Oh, that's a 7. That's not too bad. You are winded and you are seeing stars from that, but that unfortunately takes you up to 2 harm. Which means you get a -1 on all active rolls going forward. The orc does so, oh, sorry, as he does that. And then goes back to fighting with his family, I suppose. The 2 guards are trying to move through the crowds as well to try and keep up with you, but you do have advantage in this case.
Okay. As I am leaving, I will, I'm trying to get to the other side of the crowd to evade as much as I can. Seeing that my dad has, sufficiently gotten a bit of a hammering, I will yell at the orcs, I lied. They didn't actually want to ruin anything.
Okay, roll 2d6.
5 and a 2.
That's just, oh god. Tell you what, I am gonna apply -1 to that from your health. They do stop fighting your family, but now they have turned their attention on you and they want to give chase.
Uh-oh, that did not go as planned. I was hoping they would go on the spider people. I'm just gonna book it.
You just want to hit the hay. You just want to hit the road. 2d6. I'd give you a +1 for athletics, but it's offset by the -1. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's a 3 and a 1.
That's a 3 and a 1. Oh god. You do manage to escape out of the gazebo, but a orc manages to tackle you to the ground, essentially, as some of his larger brothers have come around you, and they're going to try and they're going to do you a little bit of justice. Roll 2d6.
Come on. Oh, it's a 1 and a 5.
Oh god. Oh yeah, they got big boots on. They're very large and strong guys, and a punctured rib punctures your lung, an arm dislocates out of his socket, and oh yeah, you're not well from that. You take 2 more harm.
Oh no. As they're doing this, I will just be I just wanted to create a distraction to save the wedding.
I will say this, I'm not going to make you roll for it, because essentially they want to hurt you, but they don't want to kill you, and they kind of look at you, and the fact that, like, your face just is, like, ballooned up, essentially, with welts. You spit like a tooth out, and like, oh, I think we went a bit hard there, oh god. And then you mention the fact that I just wanted to save the wedding, and they look back and, yeah, chaos is just continuing to, like, unfold, and they go, oh shit, yeah. And then they just run back in, leaving you outside on your own. And then Kale walks over to you and starts to lick your face, try and make you feel better.
I'll just lie there for a minute and pat him and not move because I'm too sore.
Of course. However, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that's it.
However, obviously chaos is rolling throughout this wedding, and the people outside are even kind of aware of what's going on as well. Police forces and the like are also starting to run in on the event, and yeah, this whole thing is just kind of turned into a big old mess. One thing though is that spider person that you chased into the forest earlier, they're heading back to kind of see what the hell all the mess is happening inside the church or inside the gazebo, and they see you on the ground with Kale, and they kind of put two and two together, and they just start to hiss as they go, "You ruined this whole thing!"
I just wanted to see what my family was doing.
Oh, when I'm done with you, you're never gonna see your family ever again.
That's fine with me. I don't like my family very much.
He's stomping over, like, pulling bits of armor off, and he's just like, I don't think you quite understood what I meant.
Well, I let you go initially. It was your friends that attacked me. I was happy to let you do what you wanted.
This guy is just so pulled back by, like, everyone is so, like, full of kind of, like, piss and vinegar, and your guy's just kind of like, hey, I just wanted to see what people were up to. I thought that. I'll tell you what, roll 2d6 and I'll give you a +1 for just your kind of calmness about this whole thing.
Oh, man. It's a 2 and a 3.
Oh, that's a 5. Oh, God. Oh, no, this spider person is, like, shaking his head back and forth, and he's like, no. The moment that you saw what we were up to, this whole thing fell apart. There's no way we're going to take back Trudle Error at this point. Why, I think we've probably just set up a big old grand war between us and the spider people. Oh, well. I'm afraid that you're going to be the first victim of this whole thing. As, pulls some silk out of his hands and starts to tie it around your legs as he's going to start pulling you into the forest with him.
Okay. Do I have a reaction or am I just fucked?
I will let you react if you'd like to.
I hope this is on your discretion, but do I still have the bow that they gave me?
Yes.
As he's pulling me in, I reluctantly go for a shot at his head.
Roll. I'm not going to take harm off for this because I'm feeling generous. So roll 2d6 plus bow.
Okay. Oh. I saw 1 and a 6.
Oh. Okay. Alright. Thunk. You get a bow off, and it goes straight through one of his big old eyes. He is, like, screeching in pain from this, as, like, it hasn't killed him, unfortunately, but he's not doing too well because of it. This does give you the opportunity to get onto your feet, but what I'm going to ask is, what's your next move? Because whatever you do next is, like, will be the difference between life and death, essentially.
So has he tied my feet up?
No, the moment he tried to tie your feet up with silk, that was when you went bam.
As he's screeching in pain, and I am, like, pretty badly off, I will call Kale, and as much as I can, I'm going to run back to the crowd in an attempt to, lose him while he's screaming.
Roll flat 2d6.
Oh no, it's a 1 and a 3.
Oh, come on. Oh, God. Roll another 2d6.
Alright. That's a 2 and a 3.
Ah! No. Kale is woofing at you to like try and pull you back into the crowd, and he's like, nipping at your leg to pull at you, but no, this spider person like pulls that arrow out of his head and is like clutching over his eye. And seeing you limp away, just puts a hand on your shoulder, takes that arrow and just rams it right through your chest. One of the last things that you see is that arrow popping out the other side.
The last thing Rylan thinks is, if only my family told me what they were doing.
Oh no! As unfortunately you slump and hit the soil outside as the spider person then, dying from blood loss, just falls back, puts its arms up in a kind of a shriveled position, and poor Kale is just woofing at you to get you to wake up.
Oh
God.
Well, that's not how I saw Rylan's story going.
Oh my God! Mitch. Congratulations, you're the first person to have ever died on Questing's show.
Nice. I will take that as an honor for the penultimate episode.
Oh my God. I didn't even want to be that mean, but just the roles were very much against you, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, it was going so well in the middle for my roles as well.
It was, yeah. You managed to turn things around with the guards and stuff like that, and managed to... I mean, I'll say at least a positive of all this chaos is the fact that you did manage to stop a larger massacre happening in the wedding. But, yeah. Usually this is the point in an episode where I would ask, following what has happened, what happens next with Rylan, but unfortunately I can't, because...
Yeah.
So I guess what I'll ask is what... No, I guess I will ask what happens next following, assuming that the chaos dies down eventually, and those who have, the things that had happened have, those who caused this, arrested and all that sort of stuff. What would the family do about Rylan?
That's a good question. I think they would be upset.
Of course.
Despite everything, it was still, he was still part of the family.
Of course.
And I think they would give him the real traditional Elven funeral.
Okay.
And celebrate him.
What does a traditional Elven funeral look like?
It's not elaborate. That's not the word I'm looking for.
No, of course it's
flowers on a a platform, like a raised platform, and they
I get you.
Yeah, and sing songs and tell stories, but I don't know what stories they would tell, since they didn't really like him that much.
About the time where he tricked an orc into punching his dad.
Yeah.
I suppose in some positive sense, his arrival there and his chaos did, kind of save he's kind of saved King Pratt and and that wedding from going through. So I imagine he would pay quite a bit of respect to Rylan as well. Kale would probably be given the Medal of Honor for his bravery during these events as well. But yeah, I don't even know what the afterlife looks like in Question Show, because it's just never come up. But tell you what, Mitch,
happened.
Special gift for you to leave us on a kind note. What does the afterlife look like?
Oh wow. This is not a question I was ever expecting to answer on this.
In fairness, I very rarely ask people to come up with an answer to this. It's not on the document, so...
The afterlife is... I would imagine it's kind of ethereal, you know, your typical angels, if you ascend, which I'm hoping Rylan does, for his bravery. It's, you know, it's the upper plane of existence. It's
right.
Have you defined the like realms of Question Show?
No, not at all.
So I guess it would be the outer ring.
Right.
And
interesting.
Yeah, it's just where people sort of go, and it's not paradisey, but it's nice. And it's very cloud, you know, that kind of ethereal, but it's not you know, the where Rylan was from is very solid. This is more translucent, if that makes sense. You know, you can't hold onto anything. You're just sort of there.
He has passed on to the great vape nation, is what you're saying.
Yes.
He will be doing vape tricks for all eternity.
He's going to be blowing clouds.
He's going to be ripping the fattest
ring.
Clouds for all eternity. Oh, gosh. Weird question to ask, but apart from dying, did you enjoy... Well, actually, I guess maybe involving the dying as well. Did you enjoy playing this week, Mitch?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Despite the ending, I still think it worked. Like, I'm still happy, rather, that...
Sure.
You know, I didn't have plot armor.
Sure.
Rylan just copped it. He had a bad hand and some bad rolls.
He's just had some bad rolls, and I think the severity of the situation just it's just unfortunate for him, really. But he didn't die in vain, is all I will say.
Well, I'm glad he didn't die in vain.
Good. Glad to hear it. Now, Mitch, before we wrap up this episode of Question Show, let me ask, is there any last plugs or anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, despite you killing my sweet little elf boy, thank you for having me on.
No problem. You know what? I'd be glad to have you back, and hopefully I'd let you play hopefully we could play a character who may not die.
I would love to come back, but also I think it would be very funny if that's just like my thing.
What? You're the only person whose character's oh god, yeah. I mean, imagine if it happens in like the first 20 minutes of an episode of Question Show, and it just is like, what's your... it just turns into like a games podcast or something to like fill time. God. Or it's just like the shortest episode. Like people were just on iTunes and they're just like, only 20 minutes, huh? That seems pretty quick.
Just put a lot of blank audio at the end so it looks as long.
I'll bulk it out with ads. And yeah.
Oh
god. But no, I'm glad to hear it, and I'm glad to hear that you did enjoy it, even if it has ended. Good one. Thank you very much. And like I said, you're always welcome to come back. So
I appreciate it.
Cool. And from me, have you? What are your links? Where do you want people to go? You know, to check your stuff out.
It's everything that I am on, so YouTube, Twitch, etc. It's just HeavyEyed, one word, and on Twitter, because someone has it, it is HeavyXeyed.
Wow. Who could be so rude to have had HeavyEyed on Twitter?
It's an account from so long ago with like 12 followers and 2 tweets, and it bothers me every day.
I think you can. I think you can email Twitter and say, "Can you free up the account?" Because if it hasn't been in use,
denied my request.
Oh my god! You know what? I'm going to send them this episode of Quest and Show and be like, look, if you're not going to let Mitch have the account after this, you're completely heartless. How dare you?
We're leaving.
As for me, you can also find me on Twitter and Twitch at Hot Cider. I'd also like to thank the Patreon producers that made this episode possible. They include VG, Valerie B, Chasm, and Undercover Squirrel. If you'd like to support the show or any work I do, please consider joining me over at patreon.com/hotcider, where you'll even get early access to episodes of Quest in Show. And until the next episode, which will be our finale of Season 2, goodbye for now.
Goodbye.